The United Nations Space Command is home to some of Halo's most iconic firearms, such as the old trusty MA5C Assault Rifle and the terrifying M41 SPNKr. After 20 years of Halo, it's safe to say the UNSC has seen its fair share of weapons. We've come to a point where classic weapons have to be replaced in order to create new weaponry, since most weapon roles are already filled. But not all. What if Halo Infinite introduced brand new weapons with completely new roles in the sandbox and with a new coat of paint? It's time to expand the arsenal. Greetings, Vernisage here. This is the second episode in the series where I create 3 new weapons for the Halo universe, along with reticles and sounds. So if you haven't seen the video where I created new banished weapons, then be sure to check it out after this video. This video has been weeks in the making. What started off as a fun little challenge turned into my most ambitious project yet. Quite early in the process of creating these designs, I felt I could use some help, so I contacted the person I've always looked up to when it comes to the UNSC aesthetic, Kieren Xiang.
Hello, I'm Kieren, a concept artist from Sydney, Australia. Thank you to UNSC for giving me this opportunity to give input to his designs. It was a pleasure to work on them.
I'll leave his Twitter in the description, so go check him out. And to make these weapons seem like they could exist in the Halo universe, I gave Lorekeeper from my Discord the task of writing some backgrounds to these firearms. So thank you to both Kieren and Lore for all the help. And without further ado, let's begin. When we think of the power weapons of the UNSC, what usually comes to mind is either the sniper rifle or the rocket launcher. But what if we merged them to create something in between? This is the premise of the grenade sniper, a sort of grenade launcher that shoots faster traveling projectiles which explode on impact. To differentiate it from the sniper rifle, I wanted to make it bullpup, as well as give it a green color scheme, a little reminiscent of the Spartan laser. But hands down the biggest inspiration was the XM25. This grenade launcher is relatively new and saw some use in the early 21st century. What's always interested me is the very blocky and simple, yet modern design of it. So that was exactly what I was going for with my design. Based on a similar weapon from the 21st century, the XM52 was originally designed as an upsized cousin of the M363 sticky detonator, used primarily for laying traps and eliminating vehicles. The weapon earned favor among Spartan operatives for its relative mobility when compared to the M41 SSR and its increased ammo capacity. The weapon was quickly modified to be primarily used for dispatching heavily armed targets, such as Legolo colonies, Durahani, and most light vehicles. The Chimera is loaded with 4 grenades in each magazine, which are fired at a medium velocity and explode on impact. While the damage is quite high, a Spartan's shields can save them from the first explosion, but 2 impacts are lethal, even for super soldiers. To fully realize the Chimera, I created the sound it makes when it's fired, by combining the sound of a 50 cal, a grenade launcher, a kick drum, and an explosion. This is what I came up with. When I started working on the XM52, it was quite different from the final result. So Kieren, let us know your process with the design.
The main point with the grenade sniper was to tweak its overall proportions. The existing sketch was a bit blocky, so I just drew some thumbnails to give Wernisage some examples to work from. The idea of this bulky grenade launcher also being a precision weapon was a very interesting direction for this design, taken from Wernisage, so I tried to play up making its barrel and optic more prominent compared to the rest of the weapon. One important area here was the space between the pistol grip and the magazine. Making the magazine larger here helps sell the idea that this weapon fires very large grenades. Squaring it against the magazine well also helps it to feel like a much more solid piece. 45-degree angles don't necessarily imply strength or rigidity as well as a 90-degree angle does here, and it helps to suit the blocky silhouette of this design.
The weapon we ended up with is a more heavy and brutal sniper rifle, which differentiates itself with the green color scheme and the bulky design. Let me know what you think of this weapon. A Halo game without a shotgun wouldn't be a Halo game. We've seen different takes on this classic weapon, whether it's the ammo capacity, the fire rate, or even the appearance, which is especially noticeable in Halo Infinite with this new take on the iconic firearm, the Bulldog. But what we haven't seen yet is a Slug Shotgun. Slugs might not be as powerful as buckshots up close, but considering the boost in range, this would change your playstyle drastically. Imagine something like a powerful Magnum, but with worse range. That's what I was going for. And to connect it to the universe, I wanted to make it look like a sister weapon to the Bulldog, something that was designed by the same manufacturer. The SAS-48 Greyhound started its long life of military service in 2476, when military police forces of the UNSC Marines and Army requested a small utility shotgun, primarily for breaching armored doors. In the aftermath of the Far Isle Rebellion, UNSC Force Recon and UNSC Army Ranger units requested a specialized version of the Greyhound, complete with carrying handles and a slight modification to its barrel and receiver to allow it to fire 12-gauge slugs, ending its rivalry with the CQS-48 Bulldog. Each magazine is loaded with 5 slugs, which are deadly up to approximately 20 meters, after which their lethality starts to drop off. Within its most effective range, the Greyhound is capable of killing a Spartan in only 3 shots, considering the 3rd shot hits the head. And to come up with a sound that's both new and familiar, I combined the sound of a grenade launcher, a SPAS 12, the Halo 3 shotgun, and a kick drum. This is the result. The first draft of the Greyhound was a lot more simple and front-heavy. So Kieren, how did you go about improving this design?
The Slug Shotgun was in a much more polished state, and I felt that the overall shape of the design worked quite well, so the feedback I gave here was much more about the interior details. One opportunity I saw was to use this gap between the bolt and the stock, imply that this weapon is a very powerful and large reciprocating bolt, where the action violently kicks back in each shot and throws the spent casing out, making something very dynamic for the player in the first-person view. Wernisage mentioned how he was looking to make this weapon a relative of the Bulldog, something large, kind of brutally simple in its design. Although he had some very interesting angles in his original sketch, I wanted to keep the core idea he had and try to make it more akin to how real weapons are manufactured. The sharp 45-degree angle between the forend and the main receiver in the original sketch was a beautiful angle, but functionally very tricky to make work. Creating very clear separation between pieces here helps to give the impression of how this weapon would be assembled from different machined pieces. The rear of this weapon, I decided to take some cues from the Assault Rifle, considering the similar shape. Opportunities to bring in design language from other UNSC weapons helps to make this new design fit in with the rest of its family. Also thinning the carrying handle and creating more negative space helps to make the barrel appear longer. The weapon becomes a little less imposing in the vertical space, but it's the feeling of lengthening out even though its actual size hasn't changed. Another small detail is adding some knurling to the end of the barrel or barrel shroud, which Just a nice detail to add some implied functionality and textural diversity.
The result is a rather unique looking UNSC weapon, with its prominent barrel and compact design. Let me know what you think of this weapon. It's safe to say the grappling hook in Halo Infinite is universally loved. So that got me thinking, what would be the evolution of the grapple shot? My mind immediately jumped to the grappling hook in Just Cause 4. Instead of pulling yourself towards something, this weapon will let you pull two different objects towards each other. For example, you could shoot an enemy ghost and an enemy warthog, and by attracting the two projectiles, the vehicles would crash into one another, resulting in a spectacular explosion. What more could you ask for? Although technically long outdated, the UNSC still has use for archaic weapons like the L7 spear gun. The UNSC Wet Navy still makes liberal use of this weapon today, issuing them to their premier special forces teams that are specifically trained for underwater engagements. The Spartan program unofficially adopted the weapon as a means to lock down heavily armored VIPs, such as rogue Jiralhanite chieftains and larger Sangheili. It's even somewhat effective at immobilizing heavily armored vehicles, such as the Wraith. The spear gun is loaded with two bolts, which on their own don't do impressive damage, but when fired at two different targets, can collide the targets with extreme force, rendering the weapon lethal. For the sound of the spear gun, I knew I couldn't do something like the previous two. It had to be unique. So to capture the sharp sound of bolts being fired, I used the sound of a crossbow, some chains, a kick drum, and once again, a grenade launcher. This is what I came up with. What we ended up with is a simple and clear design. By showing the bolts in the front, the spear gun won't be mistaken for anything else than what it is. Don't let its size fool you. It's terrifying. And there we have it. Those were the designs I made for this video. A powerful grenade sniper, a compact slug shotgun, and a devastating spear gun. I'd say there's something for everyone here. Let me know what you think about these weapon designs. Which one is your favorite? And if you really like them, share this video around. Considering all the time I put into this video, it would mean a lot. And a huge thank you to Kieren for helping me out with the Chimera and the Greyhound. Go check him out on Twitter. And where would I be without my Discord staff? Keegan, Kiwi, Lorekeeper, Spectre, Dead Ghost, Marshmallow, Melonlord, thank you for keeping the Discord alive. And thank you, Lorekeeper, for all the lore behind these weapons. I could only share a fraction of the lore in this video, so if you want to read the full lore of the weapons, then head over to my Twitter. It's fascinating stuff. Now, if you're interested in making your own art out of these, let's say a 3D model, then make sure to tag me in your post on Twitter, and I'll make sure to retweet it. I love seeing the stuff you guys make with my designs and my redesigns, so keep them coming. And before I go, I hear you loud and clear. I'll be redesigning some of the new helmets from MCC Season 8. They came out in the middle of me working on this video, so they might be a little late, but better late than never. If you like this video, give it a like. If not, a dislike. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I wish you all the best, and take care. Vernissage, out.